everyone, it's Pat from Pat's Music, and today, that's right, you asked for it, we're learning how to play fast. We're going to start off with something really simple, but what's great is if you're a beginner, an intermediate, or advanced, this video will definitely help you on your way to shredding all over the fretboard. And in one video, you're actually going to learn 5 scales as well. So it's really quick. Grab your guitar, tune up, let's dive on in. In order to play fast, there's really one thing you need to think of first, and that is that your pick is going to pick down and then up. And that's called alternate picking. So that's the main thing to focus on first. So before we get to a metronome, before I show you the sort of scale idea, just pick up and down. So go onto the first string and watch my hand here. Watch how small I pick down and then up. So see how there wasn't a lot of extra room? My hand is literally just sitting right on the string and it's just picking down and then up. And that's what you want to try and focus on when you're starting out, as small a movement as possible. I know when you're first starting out, it might seem you pick a note and your hand sort of flails over here or down here or over here or back over here or somewhere, but you want to try and just rest your palm on the other strings that you're not using and then just focus on picking down and up, the smallest movement you can. That's the first thing I would focus on. Just pick a single string. Once you can do the first string, try the second, try the third, try the fourth, try the fifth. And just practice that up and down movement. Once you've done that, the next thing is to learn this scale pattern. Now, we're going to be playing a major scale, but what's great about this exercise is you play the major scale depending on what string you're on. So if you're playing on the first string, then it's an E major scale. The second, it's a B major scale, G major scale, D major scale, A major scale, and then back to E major scale. So by the end of the video, you'll be able to play 5 different sort of shreddy sort of scale runs. So if you see an E major chord, you could do it on the first string. If you see a B major chord, you could do it on the second string. G major chord, you could play this on the third string, so on and so on. So diving in, what you want to think about is the major scale, which is this series of tones and semitones. You've got tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Now if we were to pick the first string, the E note, you would play an E, then you would play 2nd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret, 7th, 9th, 11th, 12th. That's your E major scale. And if you repeat that same thing on the other strings, you get their major scale. So B major scale, G, and so on and so on. So with that one scale shape, already you've learned 5 different major scales. Great job. How we turn this into something sort of shreddy is I would simply just practice that scale without any metronome. Once you can do that, try and simply add in some open strings with your down, up picking. I would try this. I would try and play 4 open strings. Just like that, down, up, down, up. Once you can do that, next add a 2nd fret. So it would look like that. Once you can do that, add the 4th fret, 5th, so the idea is that we're adding in those open strings as we're actually playing this major scale up the neck. Now, if you do know a little bit of your theory, once you get to the 12th fret, you can actually just continue it. If you want to use multiple fingers, that's fine too. Whatever you feel is comfortable. You're almost all of the way there. You've learned the scale shape, you've learned how to play it, you've learned the down, up picking, smallest movements as possible. Try not to use your forearm, just your wrist there like that. Just like that, smallest movement as possible. The rest of my arm isn't moving, it's just the wrist. Once you've done that, I would go onto Google and just type in metronome. So let's do that. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a metronome and it's going on 60 beats per minute. So what I would focus on is every click, you would try and play 4 notes. So it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you can do that, try and play that scale run. Now, if 60 beats per minute is too fast, take it down to 50, take it down to 40. It doesn't matter. If it's 60 is too easy, speed it up. It's all about trying to find your comfort zone. Once you can play it very cleanly and you're confident with the tempo, play it on all the other strings and then bump up the tempo. Let's bump it up by 5 or 10 dB. Let's sort of show you a faster example. So I'll bump it up to maybe 90. Maybe 120. So you can see there, if you were starting out at sort of 60 BPM, it might sound like this. But it still sounds like you're building towards something. And then once you're playing it, we were playing, I think, closer to 130 BPM. It really sounds like you're building towards something. So how I would practice this is I would simply try first up and down picking on all the different strings. Then I would practice the scale pattern. Then I would add in the open strings. Then I would set the metronome. And I would set the metronome to a speed where you're gonna nail it every single time, and then bump it up by 5 BPM, 10 BPM until it gets too tricky, and then you know that that's your ceiling. Come back to it the next time you practice it. But that's what I would do. So there you go. In one single video, you've learned alternate picking, up, down picking. You've also learned 5 different scales. So if you see a G major chord, you could play this ascending pattern over it on the 3rd string, the G string, and it would sound amazing. If you want bonus marks out there and you already know sort of the fretboard, I would continue past the 12th fret. So you can really finish on a high point. That's if your guitar has 24 frets and you can go all the way past it again. But that's been it. Did you have fun? Did you learn something? Leave a comment below. I will see you in another video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.